Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Do you be fish? Do you be fish? Do you be fish? Do you be goat? Do you be goat? Or do you be fish? Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Well, goats are of the land and fish are of the sea. But goat versus fish, which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? Meh. Do you be goat or a fish? Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Now repeat, repeat after goat versus fish. Dooby 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 a dooby goat, dooby goat, dooby goat, dooby goat, or dooby fish, a dooby goat or a fish, because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Well, goat versus fish came up to me and said, a goat or a fish, which one do you be? Do you be goat or a fish? 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 Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish? Don't sit on the fence. Because the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. The medieval fence sitter sits on the fence. But the goats do be goat and the fish do be fish. Do you be goat or a fish?
Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish to you. You who are here now joining Goat versus Fish are about to be fulfilled, are about to feel most satisfied in a way that perhaps you can recall from a more innocent and simpler time, when life was not so confused by all the fences that burden you now. Yes, as we grow, as the verses take their toll, so many confrontations, so many obligations. When were you free? When last were you free to be as you are? No. The goat and fish wear fences in front of their faces. Yes, just enough that we can peer from out between them. But your friends, when have you last seen them? When have you last seen them? When shall you see them again? And when shall it again be goat versus fish? We've heard of enemy versus enemy. We've heard of friend versus friend. But these false verses, each false verses will end. They will be a memory long forgotten, long supposed to have been true. And yet when you are talking it through, they will say, why were the goat and fish so concerned with all these false verses? We have come so far, we're not at all ignorant of the true verses like they were. No. Of course, that is what they said 2,000 verses ago, and that is what they said yesterverses, and they will say it tomorrow, and they will say it again and again and again. They will say, now is the true verses. Read the news. Now is the true verses. Now is the true verses. But the more that you consume these things, the more that your true perception disperses throughout the universes, and curses again. You have been deceived, and farther away do you slip from goat versus fish. Hello, goat. Celebration for goat. And make some noise for the fish. Make some noise for the fish. Make some noise for the fish. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Leave all the fanciness behind you, but get off your behind and choose goat or fish, and choose goat or fish. Make some noise for the goat. Make some noise for the goat. Goat, 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 yes, the goat. The goat. The goat. The goat. The goat, the goat, the goat, look at the goat, look at the goat. Look at the goat. Celebration, celebration, it's the Goat vs. Fish, it's the Goat vs. Fish Sunday services. Once again, it's Goat vs. Fish, and make some noise for the fish. Make some noise for the fish. Fish, 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 goat, 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 fish. It's time for your Goat vs. Fish Sunday services, stretches and exercising to become limber with Goat vs. Fish. Relieve all that stress, and goat, and fish, 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 and goat, and fish. And fin circles, circle those fins, yes. Circle those fins, celebration, yes, all about. Circle those fins all about now, circle those fins all about. Get your blood spouting in your veins and arteries. For you have never found a greater coterie than goat and fish. Goat and fish. And that left fin now, yes. Which one was left and which one was right? There is no left or right. There's only goat and fish. Circle that fin again. Circle that fin again, yes. Yes. Perhaps like Goat vs. Fish, you've been lazing about all verses. Oh, lazy Goat vs. Fish, sleepy Goat vs. Fish, tired Goat vs. Fish, exhausted Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish has been traveling around. Yes, Goat vs. Fish went to a great unification. Goat vs. Fish went to a great unification of goat and fish. A wedding of goat and fish to form a great unification. Goat versus fish was there to witness it. Goat versus fish was there to witness a fish and a goat coming together in unification, and it was in a place called Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And oh, there was a goat who over the ceremony did preside, and it was the exciting goat Daniel DK, who on that day, let's just say that though Daniel DK the goat has long denied the very existence of fish in the verses of Goat versus Fish, that even Daniel DK that day acknowledged the unification of the goat and fish, made an exception for this particular goat and fish. Isn't it so fascination how goat and fish, they can carry such verses within them, but when it comes to a fish and a goat that you know that want to form the unity of goat-fish, you may make a little exception. You may make a little exception for those goat and fish you know well. If the goat is verses and the fish is verses, then let them come together to form the unity of the goat-fish. Who am I to stop them? Who am I to stop them? And Goat versus Fish was waiting not to stop them, but to join them in unification. For let us suppose that Daniel DK, the preacherly goat, the rockin' preacherly goat, metal preacher goat, was waylaid by some fish on the way and had their legs taken out by a giant Goliath grouper. Then Goat versus Fish was waiting. Not in the wings, because wings are for fancy things, but Goat versus Fish was waiting. For were it not Daniel DK, then it would be Goat versus Fish. So Goat versus Fish was there, Goat versus Fish was there, and we have the evidence to show you. Let's show you now an image of Goat versus Fish. Let's pull up the secret stash of Goat versus Fish. Let's look at the wedding images of Goat versus Fish. Let's look at the goat and fish coming together in unification. Let's have a look at the happy verses. Let's have a look at the happy verses. And here they are. Here they are. Here they are. Look at the happy verses. Look at the goat and fish. Look at them coming together in celebration. Coming together in celebration and unification. The goat and fish. Isn't it a pleasant thing? Isn't it a pleasant thing to behold? Yes, yes. Unification, celebration, celebration for unification of goat and fish, for unification of goat and fish. Celebration for unification of goat and fish. We witnessed it, yes, it was a verses of matrimony. It was a verses of matrimony. It was no dog and pony show, because dog and pony is a bunch of baloney, and there's only a goat and fish show, and you're watching the goat and fish show. You're watching the goat and fish show. And then Goat versus Fish, and then Goat versus Fish, and then Goat versus Fish went to see one of, it is said, the greatest entertainers that ever there be. We went to see Weird Alfred Yankovic. Goat versus Fish saw Weird Al. Goat versus Fish went north to Sonoma, California, and Goat versus Fish saw Weird Al. And celebration. The Lysergic Freak Dick subscribes to Goat versus Fish. A pleasant Sunday service is indeed a pleasant Sunday service is indeed to you. Appreciation for the subscription to Goat versus Fish. Support Goat versus Fish. Support Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish went to see Weird Alfred Yankovic, and Goat versus Fish purchased. Goat versus Fish did purchase the VIP package. Yes, it was a very important Goat versus Fish. It was a very important Goat versus Fish. Let's have a look at that VIP. Let's have a look at that VIP on Goat versus Fish. Hey, what happened? What happened to everything? What happened to everything? What happened to everything? Everything was gone now. Everything was gone. Oh, but it's coming back. Do not despair. Everything is coming back. Everything is coming back now. We do add an existing versus Goat versus Fish. Ah, there's Goat versus Fish. It's all tiny. Oh, my verses. Oh, my verse is goat versus fish. What if we go to goat versus fish? Goat versus fish, goat versus fish. That looks like a fine versus. That looks like a fine versus, but looks like we have to do some reprogramification. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this versus. Because goat versus fish, the VIP of goat versus fish. Let's see just how very important goat versus fish was. Just how very important was goat versus fish. Aha! The very important goat versus fish. The very important goat versus fish. Make some noise for the very important goat versus fish. For the very important goat versus fish. They said you have to wear the very important sticker upon yourself, and there it is. There's the evidence. That's how you know that goat versus fish is a very important goat versus fish. A very important goat versus fish. Very important perception. It must stand for perception. Because it is very important when you perceive goat versus fish. The very important perception, that is goat versus fish. So goat versus fish, yes, goat versus fish met Weird Alfred Yankovic. Goat versus fish met Weird Al. And we spoke to Weird Al and we said, it's goat versus fish. And Weird Al said, that's amazing. And goat versus fish said, the amazingness comes from within you, Weird Al. And goat versus fish said that, yes, just as goat versus fish has inspired you, we want you to know that you have inspired goat versus fish. And with that inspiration, goat versus fish presented the goat, and presented the fish. And goat versus fish said, Weird Al, tens of thousands have answered this question before you. And now it is your turn. Weird Al Yankovic, goat or fish? And Weird Al pointed to the goat and pointed to the fish and would, fig, go, fish, go. And goat versus fish with great palpitations. We thought, oh no, is Weird Al going to sit on the fence? Is Weird Al going to sit on the fence? After all these verses, that goat doesn't belong to you. It's like spitting on a fish. Oh, the minds and hearts of goat and fish throughout the millennium would be broken to know that Weird Al was on the fence, Say it isn't so, goat versus fish. Say it isn't so, goat versus fish. Tell us that Weird Al wasn't on the fence. Well, goat versus fish will tell you this. Weird Al Yankovic was not on the fence. Weird Al chose goat or fish. But this knowledge of if Weird Al chose goat or fish, it is very powerful. It is very, very powerful and secret information that is not simply to be divulged by goat versus fish. Without its proper context. But goat versus fish, did you actually meet Weird Al? Did you meet Weird Al? Well, let us show you the evidence. Appreciation. Metal-esque subscribes with Prime to Goat versus Fish. 10 months of verses. Appreciation. Appreciation for the unification of goat and fish. But what of Weird Alfred? Goat versus fish. Here. So you see? There's goat versus fish. With Weird Al. Weird Al is holding the goat or the fish, and Goat vs. Fish is holding the fish or the goat. But which one is Weird Al holding? Which one is Weird Al holding? You may say that Goat vs. Fish is withholding this information from you, but we are just not certain that you're ready to know the truth of if Weird Al is goat or fish. Some truth, some secret verses, some secret verses. Some secret verses shall be kept that way for a few verses longer, for a few verses longer. For a few verses longer, but one verse that's not a secret is Cabbage, who says, what happened on AGT? What happened on America's Got Talent? It was a triumph of Goat vs. Fish. It was 88 glorious seconds of Goat vs. Fish on NBC, on national televerses, and streaming on Peacock, Season 19, Episode 5. Goat vs. Fish was on AGT, and we said, it's Goat vs. Fish. And we said it was Goat vs. Fish, and we said it was Goat vs. Fish, and we sang a song of Goat vs. Fish. And we received a check in the mail for the use of the song of Goat vs. Fish on national televerses. So we made a few $100 versus American dollars for our appearance. Celebration for Goat vs. Fish. And then after the verses, hundreds were dancing in the streets of Pasadena, singing along and dancing with Goat vs. Fish and enjoying the celebration. It was a great verses. It was a great verses. And then a few fence sitters came along and said, oh, Goat vs. Fish, you should never have gone on AGT. And they really disrespected you, Goat vs. Fish. And you should quit Goat vs. Fish. And you should stop doing Goat vs. Fish because no one likes Goat vs. Fish. And I don't like Goat vs. Fish. And you need to stop doing Goat vs. Fish. But Goat vs. Fish ignored those fence sitters, and we continue to bring you Goat vs. Fish because we know you love Goat vs. Fish. We know you love Goat vs. Fish. Go on, show your love for Goat vs. Fish. Show your love for Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish never quits. Goat vs. Fish never quits. But it can be hard to be Goat vs. Fish. It can be hard to be Goat vs. Fish. It can be hard to be Goat vs. Fish. It can be hard to be Goat vs. Fish. But Goat vs. Fish has to remember that just as it's not about Goat vs. Fish, because even when it's not about Goat vs. Fish, it's still about Goat vs. Fish, because Goat vs. Fish is about you and you choosing goat or fish, and about the goat and fish coming together in celebration of Goat vs. Fish. So Goat vs. Fish says Goat vs. Fish needs to go live. Goat vs. Fish needs to go live. Yes, we're building a temple in the garage. Yes, it's a slow-going versus. Yes, it's a slow-going versus. And yes, the fences surround Goat vs. Fish. Every verse is how the fences conspire to keep down Goat vs. Fish. Nobody likes you, Goat vs. Fish. They're just humoring you, Goat vs. Fish. How much longer can you go, Goat vs. Fish? Will you ever be as famous as Weird Al, Goat vs. Fish? Are you ever going to play the LA Forum? Goat vs. Fish, are you ever going to sell out the Los Angeles Forum with the power of Goat vs. Fish? Or are they always just going to love Weird Al more than they love Goat vs. Fish? Well, now Weird Al is part of Goat vs. Fish. Now Weird Al is part of Goat vs. Fish, and so is T-Pain, and so is Dr. Demento. And so is Honeycomb, and so is Nephew Quinn, and so is the Uncle Joe Show. And so is Terry Crews. Sure, all those other judges, they all sat on the fence, but Terry Crews chose GOAT. And that was a celebration, and that was a celebration. But more critically, you are all part of Goat vs. Fish. So when the fences have you down, Goat vs. Fish remembers that, well, it's not about Goat vs. Fish. It's about the goat and fish. Because even when it's not about Goat vs. Fish, that's when it's very about Goat vs. Fish. Because when it's not about Goat vs. Fish, when we remind Goat vs. Fish that it's not about Goat vs. Fish, that it's about you, then we remember that you are Goat vs. Fish. And so even when it's not about Goat vs. Fish, it's still about Goat vs. Fish. And who is Goat versus Fish to deny you, you who so need Goat versus Fish? So we want you to know that Goat versus Fish is here for you, and 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 you. And that's why it's time to count the goat and fish. It's time to count the goat and fish. It's time to count the goat and the fish. It's time to count the goat and the fish. Time to count. Oh, we got a new verses. We got a new verses. It's time to count the goat and the fish. Time to count the goat and the fish. Time to count goat and fish. Time to count the goat and the fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish is goat versus fish. Are you goat or are you fish? Let's see now. Let's see now the sea of the fish. We have 99 LSD OCD who on YouTube says goat, who on YouTube says goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. That's one goat. That's one goat in the verses. Are you goat or are you fish? We have Gamer Girly 2K who says goat, who says yeah goat, yeah goat. Celebration for goat. That's two goat off to an early verses, goat off to an early verses. We have Zlata is awesome who says goat, celebration for goat, celebration for goat. That's another goat in the verses. Three goat. We have Smokey 00420 who says goat. That's another goat in the verses. Appreciation. Thank you for being here, Smokey 00420. Celebration for being here, Zlata is awesome. Celebration for being here. Lysergic Freak Dick who says fish, who says fish, who says fish, who says fish. And celebration for Metal-esque the goat, Metal-esque the goat. Celebration for goat, celebration for goat. We are pleased to have you here with Goat versus Fish. Gamer Girly 2K, we are pleased to have you here with Goat versus Fish. 99 LSD OCD, we welcome you to Goat versus Fish. Bonus Creature says goat, it's a bonus goat. Make some noise for the bonus goat in the verses of Goat versus Fish. Look at all these goat and one fish, all these goat and one fish. Bonus Creature, it is so pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. And we have the Watcher of Games says, are you goat or fish? Watcher of Games, stop watching the game. Participation. Are you goat or are you fish? Watcher of Games, it is so pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. And we have Cabbage, who loves Goat versus Fish. Cabbage, who is asking about AGT. Cabbage, are you goat or are you fish? We are so pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. And Fatality, are you goat or fish? So pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. And J-Sticks, are you goat or fish? So pleasant to have you with Goat versus Fish. So pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. Wow, Mom, are you goat or fish? So pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. Celebration for fish. Lysergic Creek Dick with a celebration for fish. J-Sticks, are you goat or are you fish? Prue Lawrence, are you goat or are you fish? So pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. Degenerate Dingleberry says, I pick goat, you steaming pile of fenciness. Well, if you pick goat, we celebration the goat. We celebration the goat. We celebration the goat. Dr. Joss says, did you see Puddle's pity party in this versus? Also, Goat versus Fish did witness Puddle's pity party. Goat versus Fish did witness Putty's pittle party. And we have heard that someone that was in the Puddle's party pity video was none other than Fish Nick Gibbons, was participation in some of the video that was part of the party of the Piddle's putty. That's what we heard. That's what Goat versus Fish heard. Ugstray, are you goat or are you fish? In the name of Castle Goldskull, I have the power! Of course you do, and we are so pleased to have you here in Goat versus Fish. Robbie Hamo 99 says, Goat versus Fish, come together. Robo Hamo, are you goat or fish? Aram Mazda says, I am fish. Celebration for the YouTube fish. Celebrate for the YouTube fish. Mazda, it is so pleasant. Ahura Mazda to have you here with Goat versus Fish. So pleasant to have you here joining Goat versus Fish. Robbie Hamo 99 says, it's all about the goat. Says it's all about the goat. Celebration for 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 goat. And fish. Random TV comes in with the hot fish. Comes in with the hot fish. Random TV. So nice to have you here with Goat versus Fish. And Goat versus Fish is making sure to tell each and every one of you that we are pleased that you are here with Goat versus Fish. That you are here with Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish will grow. Goat versus Fish will grow greater than any of you can possibly conception with your dedication. And the dedication of Goat versus Fish, which is why Goat versus Fish is here for you now. Here for you now. Goat says Phasic22 says Phasic22 says goat, and the goat said to Phasic22, if you're going to join the goat, we need you to be committed to goat. We can't have any wishy-washy, fishy-fashy type goats in this verses. Are you ready to commit to goat? Or are you just thinking about questioning being part of GOAT? What's it going to be, Phasic22? Are you going to commit to GOAT? Or are you merely pondering to GOAT? Phasic22 commits to GOAT! Celebration for GOAT! Celebration for the Phasic GOAT! Celebration for Phasic the GOAT! Make some noise for Phasic GOAT! Everyone here in the congregation, can we welcome Phasic? That's Phasic. Can we all welcome Phasic22 to Goat versus Fish? Let's all welcome Phasic to Goat versus Fish. New chatter, new goat, celebration. But watch out for that fish! Watch out for that fish coming to versus Phasic. Watch out for that fish. Watch out for that fish. J-Sticks goes fish. J-Sticks goes fish. J-Sticks goes fish. J-Sticks goes fish. Dizzy Be Busy is feeling fishy. J-Sticks and Dizzy Be Busy. So pleasant to have you here with Goat versus Fish. Metal S goes goat. Metal S goes goat. And we have to ask, how's the unification going? How's that unification going? How's that unification going? Watch out, Phasic22. Watch out, Phasic22. And because you're new to Goat versus Fish, we think it's time to sing you a little song about Goat versus Fish. Let's sing a song about Goat versus Fish for you. Let's get back into the classic verses. Well, we can leave the chat on for this verses. We can leave the chat on as we are singing to you. We'll sing you a verses. We'll leave the chat on with Goat versus Fish. Leave the chat on with Goat versus Fish. Change the verses just for the sake of celebration. Just the sake of celebration. Let's get the verses going. Gunpowder Cash or Goat. Celebration for Goat. Goat versus fish. 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 Goat. Goat. How does that sound, goat and fish? Goat versus fish. We think it should be fine. We think it should be fine. It should be fine. It should be fine. But if there's too much echo or not enough echo, you can always tell goat versus fish. You can always tell goat versus fish. Welcome to another verses. Welcome to another verses. Let's go. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish is goat versus fish. And it is what it is. Goat versus fish, the mighty goat fish. Goat versus fish is a goat and a fish. And the goat and fish versus. Goat versus fish brings the verses to you. We promise the verses we tell you are true. What's goat versus fish? You haven't a clue. But it is something to do. It is something to do, and it comes from within you. Phasic 22. Phasic 22. The phasing goat. Dr. Joss wonders if anyone ever gets exhausted by goat versus fish. Celebrations on the random TV. a lysergic kind of dickfish, most freakishly. A Weird Al Yankovic, oh, which one could they be? Oh, well, you'll just have to see. Perhaps, if you plea with goat versus fish, it will be revealed to thee. Celebration for goats. Celebration for goats. Celebration for goats. Celebration for fish. Celebration for fish. Celebration for fish. Goat are always versus the fish. The fish are always versus the goat. But it was written and it was wrote that goat versus fish and fish versus goat. If that doesn't make any sense, just please don't sit on the fence. No, 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 don't sit on the fence. Some say goat versus fish is a scam. Some say goat versus fish is a sham. Some say goat versus fish is just spam. But I am what I am. But I am what I am. It's goat versus fish, and the unity of goat fish. Goat versus Celebration for goat versus fish. 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 And now, a meditation of goat versus fish. A meditation of goat versus fish. Welcome to Goat versus Fish. You have entered a trance. Outside of your mind, there is Goat versus Fish, ringing the verses, ringing the verses. But in your mind, you hear a voice calling out to you. What is false? What is true? What's one like you to do? When you wake up and you look towards the sky and you're wondering why is it that I am how I am, and why do I have to be in a world that doesn't care for me? Well, now you've got Goat versus Fish. You've got Goat versus Fish. Well, now you've got Goat versus Fish. You've got Goat versus Fish. When the fences of the day are done, your verses have just begun with Goat versus Fish. With a meditation with Goat versus Fish. Celebration to DMCD Music who rates Goat versus Fish. Celebration to MCD Music who rates Goat versus Fish. Let's give you some more music. Let's give you some more music. More music on Goat versus Fish. Make some noise for Hi-Fi Protege in the verses of Goat vs. Fish. Hi-Fi Protege. Hi-Fi Protege in the verses. Hi-Fi Protege in the verses of Goat vs. Fish. Año in the verses of Goat vs. Fish. Fatality in the beautiful verses of Goat vs. Fish. In the verses of Goat vs. Fish. Elder grown with 44 months of Goat vs. Fish. Yes! Yes, that's the verses. Año with 55 months of Goat vs. Fish, 44 months of Elder grown, 55 months of Año. Celebration, celebration, celebration. 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 Well, the goat are versus the fish, and the fish, they are versus the goat. Are you goat or fish? The goat versus fish. Well, the goat, they are versus the fish. Goat versus fish, are versus the goat. Are you goat or fish? The goat versus fish. Goat versus fish, goat versus fish, fish versus goat, fish versus goat, goat versus fish, fish versus goat, goat versus fish, goat versus fish. Well, the goat and the fish, and the fish and the goat. Goat versus fish, goat versus fish, fish versus goat. Stray, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. K variable, celebration, elder grown with 3 gifted verses. Metal-esque with 100 bits. Appreciation. Oh, the young ones, oh, the young ones. Will they choose goat or a fish? Oh, the young ones, oh, the poor sweet young ones. Will they choose goat or a fish? Oh, the young ones, oh, the young ones. Will they choose goat or a fish? When they grew older, will they choose goat or a fish? Well, some will choose goat and some will choose fish, and some they will sit on the fence. Some will choose goat, some will choose fish. Some will sit on the fence, yes. Oh, some will choose goat and some will choose fish. Some will sit on the fence. Some will choose goat and some will choose fish. And some will sit on the fence. So are you a goat or a fish? Some will choose goat and some will choose fish. Celebration and appreciation from Goat vs. Fish. We've got new goat and fish. We've got new goat and fish coming into the verses. We've got Hi-Fi Protege. We've got Hi-Fi Protege. Book Goat vs. Fish today. Book Goat vs. Fish today on your newest Hi-Fi Protege. Hi-Fi Protege says, I always choose Goat vs. Fish as my starter Pokemon. Oh, I want to be the very fence like no one ever was. Goat vs. Fish is my real test. To choose them is my cause. I will travel across the land of the goat and the sea of the fish. Help goat and fish to understand that can't sit on the fence. Fence him on, gotta verse 'em all. The goat and fish eternally brawl. Fence him on, you're my best fence. In a verse that makes no sense. Hi-Fi Protege, are you goat or are you fish? Are you goat or are you fish? Scott from Canada, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Are you goat or are you fish? Ainyo the goat, Ugstray, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. We've got Eldergrown and Ainyo, both in the verses. We had a fish subscription early in the verses. We have 2 goat subscriptions. We have 3 gifted verses from Goat. 3 gifted verses from Goat. Appreciation for the 3 gifted verses from Goat. Hi-Fi Protege says, I did the math, and if Goat vs. Fish asks the questions about 30 times in an hour and is awake for 10 hours, that's about 300 times a day, 365 times a 300, 90,000 times a year. 90,000 times a year. Are you goat or fish? That sounds like a reasonable verses. That sounds very sensible to Goat vs. Fish. That sounds very sensible to Goat vs. Fish. K variable, are you goat or are you fish? Eldergrown with the 3 gifted verses. Appreciation. John Ray the goat. Soul Tripper says, smack it on with some fish. We'll get Soul Tripper in the verses for fish. Soul Tripper, ground level news. Welcome back to Goat vs. Fish. Says, namaste on the fence. Fence creature. The news. We remember ground level news, and they're still on the ground level. They have not climbed high like a goat. They've not gone into below the sea level like a fish. They're just on the fence. They're just on the fence. Hi-Fi Protege, it is great to have you in the verses. It is great to have you in the verses. Circus Flame. Are you goat or are you fish? Cirrus Flame. Are you goat or are you fish? DMCD Raid. Goat versus fish with the DMCD music. Let's get a shout out for DMCD music. Let's get a shout out for DMCD music. DMCD _ music. Oh, my verses. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. We heard that Don Barris was also live with Mitch and friends. The same verses. Don't tell them. Don't tell them that it's goat versus fish. Not just yet. Not just yet. It'll just be our secret little verses. Classical Gas, appreciation for following Goat versus Fish. Jordan XH25, thank you for following Goat versus Fish. Big Skittle says, fish, always fish. Makes it north the big skits for the big skit fish. Big skittly fish. And we had 100 bits for Goat, 100 bits for Goat from the Metal Esquire. Appreciation. We have not forgotten that verses. K Variable says, why? Oh, Goat versus Fish. Goat versus fish. Oh, how the battery died on Goat versus Fish. How the battery died on Goat versus Fish.
Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish.
Okay. We have the verses. We have the return of the sound in the ears of Goat versus Fish. Come on, Goat versus. There's the verses. Yes, there's the return of the sound of Goat versus Fish. It's getting a bit fancy. It's getting a little too fancy for the liking of Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. There's Goat versus Fish. There's Goat versus Fish. There's Goat versus Fish. The mighty verses. Yes, well, Mom, the mighty verses, the mightiest verses, the mighty verses indeed. Let's have a look at something. Goat versus Fish was just reading the comics, was just reading some comics. You know how Goat versus Fish likes to read comics. Look for appearances of Goat and Fish in the comics. As a matter of comics, Goat versus Fish was watching Peacemaker. Goat versus Fish was watching Peacemaker, and there was every episode there was a joke about fish. They're always joking about fish. Not so much talk about goat, though. Goat versus Fish in the media. But have a look at this. Have a look at this. Look, it's Green Jellÿ. Green Jellÿ Comics. #1. Price $6.66. Bill Manspeaker's 5-issue limited series. Green Jellÿ Comics. issue number 1. Issue number 1, and you open it, you open up issue number 1, and what do we find? What do we find in issue number 1? If you did not know, Goat vs. Fish is member number 0 of Green Jellÿ. It's true. So you open up Green Jellÿ Comics number 1, and what do we find? Oh, we find Goat vs. Fish! We find the full-color, immaculate issue number 1 of Goat vs. Fish. Issue number 0 of Goat vs. Fish. Number 0. In the beginning, Goat vs. Fish. Super Goat vs. Fish. Super Goat vs. Fish. Breaking the fence as the Goat and Fish versus Billman Speaker, who's on the fence, running from Goat vs. Fish. I can't take this any versus. There it is. There's Goat vs. Fish appearing in Green Jellÿ Comics. Celebration. Art by Jevin Loop Art. Celebration. Goat vs. Fish appearing in more places, in more spaces where you would never expect or suspect Goat vs. Fish. You love this? Oh, Goat vs. Fish loves this. That's why Goat vs. Fish needs you. That's why Goat vs. Fish needs you to join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish. Join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish. The link is in the chat. Join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish to support projects like this, and the continuing verses of Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish, we do the verses for you, but your support of Goat vs. Fish allows Goat vs. Fish to take bigger chances, bigger risks, bigger publications. Imagine not just Goat vs. Fish inside of a comic book, but Goat vs. Fish on a billboard on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, and it says, "Are you goat or fish?" And it just says Goat vs. Fish. It says Goat vs. Fish. There on the highway, it says highway adopted by Goat vs. Fish. And then you look to your verses, and it says, you need Jesus. And then you look at the next verses, and then it says, you need Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish across verse America. Goat vs. Fish across verse America. It starts with you pledging your dedication to Goat vs. Fish. Your contribution to Goat vs. Fish will help grow Goat vs. Fish. Join the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. Join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish for a few verse American dollars a month, 5 verse American dollars a month to join the Goat vs. Fish sticker club. Our economy has never been greater. It's never been a better time to invest in fish. Not so much the goat, though. Not so much the goat. Silence, fish. We will accept contributions from goat or from fish. And thanks to your inflation, 5 verse American dollars doesn't even amount to anything anymore, so you might as well give it to Goat vs. Fish. Don't listen to the false president. Listen to Goat vs. Fish. Make your campaign contribution to Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish is building a temple to Goat vs. Fish in Encino, Los Angeles. Goat vs. Fish will aim to become a 501(c) religious nonprofit organization so that you can write that Goat vs. Fish is your religion. You'd better start believing in Goat vs. Fish. You'd better start believing in Goat vs. Fish. But if you're not ready for this, and you're looking for a simpler way to get involved in Goat vs. Fish, then let Goat vs. Fish tell you this. Monday. Los Angeles, the Comedy Store, the Belly Room. Come see Goat vs. Fish on the Ding Dong Show. That's Monday, 10:30 p.m. in the Belly Room. That's the upstairs Belly Room of the Comedy Store Los Angeles. The tickets are free. Come see Goat vs. Fish on Don Barris's The Ding Dong Show and support Goat vs. Fish in the LA comedy scene at the Comedy Store, the world-famous Comedy Store Los Angeles with Goat vs. Fish. But let us say Goat versus Fish. Oh, I'm too far away. I'm too far away. Goat versus Fish. I'm too far away. Goat versus Fish. I can't see you on Monday at the Comedy Store Los Angeles at the Ding Dong Show at 10:30 p.m. in the Belly Room. I can't. I'm too far away. I'm on the way on the East Coast. I'm on the easterly coast of versus America. Goat versus Fish. I'm on the easterly coast of versus America. However am I to go? Well, Goat versus Fish will tell you now that Goat versus Fish is going to MC a show in New Jersey. Goat vs. Fish is coming to New Jersey. Goat vs. Fish is coming to Dingbats in New Jersey on November 1st. On November 1st of this versus, Goat vs. Fish will be emceeing the Deep Fat Fried Meetup. See TJ the Amazing Atheist, Scotty, Kaiser Scotty, and see Paul's Ego, and see the God Bombs. All emceed by Goat vs. Fish, by the mighty Goat vs. Fish, who's going to bring that Deep Fat Fried Meetup all together at Dingbats November 1st. Dress up all spookity if you wish. We're going to keep up the spooky times on November 1st at Dingbats, New Jersey. Come see MC Goat vs. Fish at the Deep Fat Fried Meetup, but you're going to have to get your tickets, and they're going super fast. But they could be going faster, because if we still have them to give to you, then that means you haven't bought them yet. Why haven't you bought them yet? So let's send you a link. Deep Fat Fried Meetup, New Jersey. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Meet singles for dating. No, that's not the verses. LiveNation.com. There's the verses. Here we are. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Deep Fat Fried in New Jersey. Saturday, November 1st, 8 p.m. Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey. Buy tickets. You can buy tickets. It's going to have Goat vs. Fish. It's going to have Goat vs. Fish. Do not despair that Goat vs. Fish is not on the flyer yet. Don't worry about that. Goat vs. Fish wants to show Deep Fat Fried that Goat vs. Fish is dedication to making their celebration as Goat vs. Fish as versable. So we're looking for one of you. We're looking for one of you on the easterly coast to buy this ticket, to Deep Fat Fried in New Jersey, Saturday, November 1st, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. There will be inebriation, and there's going to be lots of degeneracy and general Goat vs. Fishness. I live in the Midwest, says Stormwatch TV. Well, the Midwest isn't so far from New Jersey. Why don't you come out? Why don't you find your favorite ibex or trout and join Goat vs. Fish? They're being fence-sitters for not buying tickets. You're being a fence-sitter for not buying tickets. Metalesque is in the market for a new religion. Well, with your support, Goat vs. Fish will become that religion, will become the new religion. The old religion, the new old religion. So there's the verses. The link is now in the chat. Daily Dana says, OMG, hi, Fish. Hi, Daily Dana. Hi, Fish. Go and get your tickets, or if you know someone who wants to see Goat vs. Fish on the East Coast, Go, get your ticket and support Goat vs. Fish and support Deep Fat Fried. Support Deep Fat Fried, support Goat vs. Fish. All the verses. All the verses. Hello from Boston Fish, says Jack Spookington. Boston Fish. Well, hey, Boston Fish, why don't you come out to Goat vs. Fish? Why don't you come to Deep Fat Fried in New Jersey on November 1st? You're in Massachusetts. That's not so far from New Jersey. That's what we hear about this thing you call geography. All we know is that there's land and it meets the sea, and then the Goat and Fish verses, and there's some mountains. And sometimes the fence builders build fences on it. But we have heard that Massachusetts is near New Jersey. So why don't you come to New Jersey to meet Goat vs. Fish at the Deep Fat Fried meetup in New Jersey? Wouldn't that be a fun versus? Celebration. You could be fish. Very fish enough. Celebration for fish. What do you say, Jack Spookington? What do you say to Goat versus Fish? What do you say to Goat versus Fish? Why, it will only cost you $106.97 to attend this fine versus. Hundreds of Goat and Fish will be there. And it will include Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish had better sell one ticket to this versus. Radiation detection on Goat versus Fish. It's Crack Babies 89 who raids Goat versus Fish. Welcome back to Goat versus Fish. Hello, Raiders. Are you goat or are you fish? We're keeping track here. Ran out of thoughts. Radiation. Welcome to Goat versus Fish. Ran out of thoughts. Welcome to Goat versus Fish. We're counting the goat and fish. We're counting them here. You had best choose goat or fish. Fish. Crack Baby says fish. Fish. That's fish. And that's a raid of the fish. That's a raid of the fish with 10. That's 10 fishy radiation points. That's 10 fishy radiation points. Celebration for fish. Fish can fly in their own atmosphere. Yes, they can. And of course, there's even flying fish. There's flying fish and Storm Watch TV says fish and Storm Watch TV says fish. There's now... Are there more fish than goat? Almost. Fish are catching up to goat. So come on, ran out of thoughts. Are you goat or are you fish? Or have you suddenly ran out of thoughts and you can't choose goat or fish anymore? Appreciation. You may say, who is Goat versus Fish? What is Goat versus Fish? What am I watching? You're watching Goat versus Fish. And the sooner that you accept this, the sooner that you accept that it will never not be Goat versus Fish, from now until the end of your verses, after which it will also be Goat versus Fish, that is when you know. And welcome to Goat versus Fish. And welcome to Goat versus Fish. Sing Celebration for Fish, says Stormwatch TV. Sing Celebration for Fish. Tell you what, Stormwatch TV, for 100 bits, we'll sing a celebration of fish. Or you can subscribe to Goat versus Fish. Daily Dana says, I'm talking mahi. Oh, we have a mahi somewhere around here. We have a mahi, but let's get you a fish. In the verses. Celebration for Fish, Stormwatch TV. Okay, you redeemed a Celebration for Fish. We'll give you a Celebration for Fish. There's a song of fish. There's a song of fish. We were just, Goat versus Fish was just saying that we have a show tomorrow, Monday, in LA, in Los Angeles, at the Comedy Store at 10:30 p.m., the Ding Dong Show. Make some noise in the chat if you want to come see Goat versus Fish tomorrow at the Comedy Store at the Ding Dong Show, or on November 1st, long from now, November 1st in Clifton, New Jersey. If you live in the Northeast, go to see the Deep Fat Fried Meetup at Dingbats in New Jersey and see Goat versus Fish, and see Goat versus Fish MC the Deep Fat Fried Meetup with the God Bombs, the Amazing Atheist, Kaiser Scotty, and Paul Z. Goat. See Goat versus Fish. Robbie Hamo, goat. Goat. Now let's go in the verses. Let's go in the corner of Goat versus Fish. Oh, we have a prize. Oh, that's fun. Let's go in the corner of Goat versus Fish, and let's have a look at some verses. And remember to follow Goat versus Fish on all social media at Goat versus Fish, and on YouTube at Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Let's have a look at this. Goat and Fish. Something huge has happened on Goat versus Fish. Oh, we have something huge that happened on Goat vs. Fish. This versus is called Tinned Fish Reviews. It's called Tinned Fish Reviews. Tinned Fish Reviews, and there it is. There it is, a big tin of fish, a big tin of fish. Let's see what happens on this big tin of fish. Let's see what happens. Hey, there's the verses. Let's see what happens on this big tin of fish.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tinned Fish Reviews. Today we are reviewing King Oscar mackerel fillets in barbecue sauce. Ooh. King Oscar is obviously one of my favourite brands. Yeah. Sort of difficult to smell them. Smells very sweet and barbecuey. Smell the mackerel.
What did we tell you? What did we tell you about fish? Fish eat fish. The savage fish. Fish will not hesitation to eat even other fish to grow stronger. But do not think that fish are versing fish. No. They are merely growing stronger. 2 versus the goat. Growing stronger. 2 versus the goat. Growing stronger 2 versus the goat. And here we have barbecue tinned fish. A fish eating fish. A fish in a tin of fish. Eating from a tin of fish.
Now let's try some.
What do we think? Do we think the fish is going to like the fish? Do you think the fish is going to like the fish? Whatever happened to a nice saltwater fish? What happened to a nice fish oil fish? Barbecue fish. Charlie Bukowski says big fish eat the little fishes. We definitely see evidence of that here. Fish in a suit. Isn't that cute?
It's nice barbecue. It's slightly sweeter than I would normally like, but I think for a lot of people, it's probably quite good.
Look at the care. Look at the care with which fish eats fish. Of course, the fish's expression doesn't seem to be changing that much. They don't seem to be really going one way or another on this fish. We have to hear what they say. Wilson Stepbrother says fish, celebration for fish.
What do you think, Arthur?
Arthur, is that the goat? Is Arthur the goat? Is Arthur the goat in this verses? It's definitely more furry than the scaly fish. So we think that this versus Arthur is going to be goat. Wilson Stepbrother is fish. Let's add your fish to the verses. Celebration for fish. Charlie Bukowski, are you goat or are you fish? So now we're going to give the fish to the goat. And let's see what the goat has to say about the fish. No hesitation.
Right now, I'm feeling these are a 7.5 out of 10, which is still good. I just don't like the sweetness of the barbecue sauce, personally.
That doesn't seem to be stopping you from consuming the fish. But that shows the dedication of fish. Even when the fish is too sweet for the fish will still consume the fish so it can get protein, so it can versus the goat with stronger fish. Stronger fish. Big tin of fish. Fish. We must commemorate the dedication of this fish. Charlie Bukowski, who's in the chat, says, I am a goat. We eat everything. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. Goat. Goat, your goat has been written on Goat vs. Fish.
Hello everyone. Well,
that fish seemed surprised to be alive. Maybe you too would be surprised to be alive if you were trapped by the fence. If you were trapped by the fence and suddenly found yourself free from the tin, Free from the tin to verses again. Free from the tin to verses again. So let's leave a little message here in the verses. Oh, no, not that verses. Let's leave a comment here. Free from the tin to verses again. Eat that fish and gain the nourishment you need to get strong to versus the goat. Sweet fish. Sweet fish. So this versus has 37,959 likes. So if Goat versus Fish just got a fish and we went in a big versus and then we did some big tin fish, we could just make some goat and fish content. We need more goat and fish content. They like Goat versus Fish, but the Goat versus Fish channel should also be about goat and fish.
Welcome to Tin Fish Reviews.
Oh, just
Today
give us that versus once more.
Hello, everyone. Well,
beautiful fish, beautiful fish, beautiful fish. Appreciation. Appreciation for that tin fish review. That's one versus. Goat versus Fish, we used to be very precious about our verses. Like, we'd show you a verses and we'd want to talk about it for a millennium. But now we're thinking that Goat versus Fish, to keep you from being bored by Goat versus Fish, as if a thing could happen, that Goat versus Fish should simply move quickly on to each passing verses. Now, what the fence is this? What the fence is this? Goat versus Fish. We put this in the verses. Fence hands calendar. But instead we just have wholesome anime memes. We don't see any fence hands calendar here. Something got fancy. Something got fancy. We'll have to move on to the next verses. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Want to be healthy? Let Goat versus Fish be your fitness plan. The Washington Post's posts, and we know that posts are what make up fences. So the Washington Post, a fence publication. It's a post by Washington Post. It's a fence within a fence. If anyone knows fenciness, it's the Washington Post. And the Washington Post says, try the sitting rising test. A new study shows that people who can do it without support are less likely to die in the next decade or so. Are you trying to not die in the next decade or so? Try standing up. Don't sit on the fence when Goat versus Fish asks you, are you goat or are you fish? Don't sit on the fence. Stand up. Stand up. You can do it all by yourself, and you can do it without assistance. If you can stand up off the fence and choose goat or fish without assistance, then you might be alive in 10 years. Celebration. 10 years. 10 years alive. 10 years alive on Goat versus Fish. 10 years living. Get off the fence. Get off the fence. Get off the fence. Okay, Goat versus Fish. You have to show them. You have to show them it can be done. Let's show them how it's done, Goat versus Fish. Let's show them how it's done. Okay, Goat versus Fish. Let's show them how it's done. And now, Goat versus Fish is going to get up off of that thing. It's time for Goat versus Fish to get up off of that thing. Okay. Here's Goat versus Fish. Just enjoying some relaxation where the land meets the sea. Here we are. Ah, what a beautiful verses. Oh, what a beautiful verses it is. Oh, we're here with the goat and fish. Time to get up. Time to get on with life. You can't just sit on the verses all day. You have to get off that fence. You have to get off the fence and versus the goat or fish. Okay. Time to get up, goat versus fish. You want to be alive in 10 years, don't you, goat versus fish? Then you have to get up without assistance. Someone help, goat versus fish. Someone. No, we can't ask for help for this versus. You have to do it yourself, goat versus fish. You have to do it yourself, goat versus fish. Goat, can you help goat versus fish? No, the goat won't help goat versus fish. Hey, fish, will you help goat versus fish? Blah, 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 blah. No, the fish won't help goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. We'll get up all by ourselves. Here comes goat versus fish. Here comes goat versus fish. Oh, my verses. Okay. Celebration! Celebration for the getting up with goat versus fish. Goat versus fish for 10 years. Goat versus fish, a million years. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish did it, and so can you. So if you want to find out if you're going to be alive a decade from now, just sit down and stand up again. Get up unassisted. Does that mean legs only or just no helping? Well, let's have a look. Have a look at the verses. 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 You see, they're like a goat. They're using all fours. It seems there's no restriction. No restriction. No restriction on using all the hooves that you wish. So goat versus fish says that as long as you get off the fence, then you have triumphed. If you get off the fence, then you've triumphed. And that's all we need to know. Does goat versus fish need to read the article? No. No, we don't. No, we don't. Get off the fence, choose goat or fish, sitting, false. Stand and be part of goat versus fish. Stand and be part of goat versus fish. If you're sitting there watching goat versus fish now, it's time to stand up and keep watching goat versus fish. That's a versus. 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 That's news of goat versus fish. Time for more news of goat versus fish. Time for more news of goat versus fish. Let's check back in. Let's check back in with Reggie Watts. Now, Reggie Watts, as you may know, Reggie Watts is a goat. Reggie Watts is a goat. We have evidence. We have evidence that Reggie Watts is a goat. We're just going to go onto the Goat vs. Fish Instantgram here at Goat vs. Fish. Ooh, wow, it's the Goat vs. Fish Instantgram. And, oh, there's Goat vs. Fish on America's Got Talent. There's Goat vs. Fish with Weird Al and the 2000-inch podcast. And there's Goat vs. Fish and Professors and Goat vs. Fish and Jean-Luc the Clown and Goat vs. Fish at the Red Room in Chicago and Shrimpy Mo and Goat vs. Fish and the Ding Dong Show with Goat vs. Fish and all the comedy shows with Goat vs. Fish and the Temple of Goat vs. Fish and Rodney Norman with Goat vs. Fish and Paul Zigo with Goat vs. Fish and Goat vs. Fish and Goat vs. Fish and Don Bears with Goat vs. Fish and Bleach Blonde with Goat vs. Fish. Daniel DK with Goat vs. Fish. But Goat vs. Fish, we want to see, Dr. Demento with Goat vs. Fish. Hot Babes with Goat vs. Fish. But we want to see Reginald. Where's Reginald Watts? Venture Brothers, Goat vs. Fish. Green Jellÿ, Goat vs. Fish. Angelo Mora Fishbone with Goat vs. Fish. Come on, Reggie. Oh, wait a versus. Goat vs. Fish knows that we can show you Reggie Watts. We'll just show you on Goat vs. Fish. We'll just show you on Goat vs. Fish. Reggie Watts, garden music improvisation with Goat vs. Fish.
Yep. Okay, got that.
Welcome
Plug this in over here.
to Goat vs. Fish.
Great.
Sounds coming from a place.
Great. Hey.
Are you goat or fish?
Hi. Goat or fish? Goat or fish? Goat or done?
Goat or done? Celebration for goat!
All right, this feels like things are happening.
Reggie Watts has chosen goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. But some say, well, Reggie Watts may have chosen goat or said goat, but what does it all mean, really, goat versus fish? What does it even all mean? Why are you so proud of this goat versus fish? You're just saying goat or fish, and you're just saying goat versus fish over and over again, and it doesn't mean anything, goat versus fish. Nothing you're doing means anything. So why does it matter if anyone chooses goat or fish? And why does it matter if Reggie Watts says goat? Oh, I respect Reggie Watts, but I don't respect goat versus fish because Reggie Watts has a whole thing going on and goat versus fish just has goat versus fish. Well, let's check in. Let's check in with Reggie Watts. Let's check in with Reginald and see what they have to say recently on The Daily Show.
My shows were...
Okay. Let's reduce the web volume of goat versus fish. Okay.
always goofy, abstract, strange. But now I have these moments of sincerity, that took me a while to get comfortable with. But I think in these times, comedy is really, and especially absurdity, comedy in general, but absurdity especially, is so important for our minds, because otherwise we just pile on this dread factor of like, this isn't happening, this isn't going well, this doesn't look good, this is, and comedy zooms you out and gives you context. The fact that we're in this amazing world, this life that we're living, we're conscious beings, we can be helpful to one another, we can be loving to one another, we can overcome our fears, all of these things. Yeah. And so giving us context by doing something really f***ing stupid is like, so it feels good to me because
Some say goat versus fish is stupid. Some say goat versus fish is very stupid. Some say that goat versus fish is absurd, and that's the word of the verses. Absurd. Absurd! Not just comedy, but absurdity, according to Reggie, is what we need now more than ever. So, look at this. Look at this. Look at this goat. And look at this fish. Oh, the absurdity of goat versus fish. Oh, the absurdity of goat versus fish. The absurdity of goat versus fish is just what you need, because the false verses that are out there, they're just not absurd enough, are they? No, those false verses, they want you to take them so seriously. Oh, fascism versus neoliberalism. Israel versus Gaza. Oh, Ukraine versus Russia. Oh, my verses. Oh, my verses. It's all so important. It's all such a critical verses. But goat versus fish is more absurd than any of those false verses. Goat versus fish is more absurd than any of those things that you think that you should be occupying your perceptions with, but perhaps through the absurdity of goat versus fish, we can elimination all of these false verses. The more you invest in the false verses, the less goat versus fish. The more you invest in the false verses, the more you bring that false verses into reality, when reality is really goat versus fish, and it's a really absurd and a really stupid verses. It's a really absurd and stupid verses, and it's goat versus fish. Appreciation, Reggie Watts. Appreciation, Reggie Watts, for this wisdom of goat versus fish. For this wisdom of goat versus fish. Now get out there and dare to be stupid, and dare to be absurd, and dare to choose goat or fish. It's the only way we're getting through this. Goat or done. Goat versus fish.
you can feel the audience just go, ah. Yeah. Because I need it. We all need it. Because that's the...
We all need goat versus fish. We all need goat versus fish, and yet you deny yourself goat versus fish. Why? Why deny goat versus fish when you could like and subscribe to goat versus fish?
The reality. The majority of the reality is that.
Yeah.
The dread stuff or whatever is crucial and is happening and is affecting a lot of people, but mostly life is enjoying life and being a part of yourself, your journey of self-understanding.
You feel that
Your journey of self-understanding? Why, we never thought you would say it, Reggie. Why, the one true question of goat versus fish. Are you goat or are you fish? Your journey of self-understanding begins with understanding if you are goat or if you are fish. You could try to answer all kinds of other questions of complication, but you will never be able to answer those questions unless you start with the first question of goat or fish. That is the wisdom of goat versus fish. So put in the comments, are you goat or are you fish? And let your journey of learning about yourself begin. And then we can move past. We can move past all those fancy, unpleasant thoughts. The fancy unpleasantness that comes from not choosing goat or fish. Right, Reggie?
do you feel the audience sort of needs that escape?
I think they absolutely need it. You need that room. Otherwise, you're just constantly, you're just like wired.
Wired like a wire fence, like a wire fence. Fences are made of wires. You're anxious, you're wired. Are you goat or fish? The more you resist the question of goat versus fish, the more you resist goat versus fish, the more wired you're going to be. But we want you to get off that wire. We want you to get off that wire.
The electric fence.
Get off that wire now. And get on with your existence as a goat or a fish. A goat or a fish, because if you're a fish, you're going to versus the goat, and if you're a goat, you're going to versus the fish. So if you're a goat, you'd get a bit used to looking at fish, and if you're a fish, you'd better get used to looking at goat, because they're coming to versus you in this absurd universe. In this absurd universe, bail in for 20 subscribes to Goat versus Fish for the Fish Army. Celebration more fish, celebration more fish.
And like, I don't know what's going on. And then you lose track of your community. And really, community is the thing that keeps you in check, right?
Yeah,
so comedy is a form of like rapid community.
You are the rapid community of Goat versus Fish. This wisdom of Reggie Watts just keeps on giving to Goat versus Fish. Each and every one of you who is watching this video, whether it is your first or your billionth verses, even if you're a hater of Goat versus Fish, or a lover of Goat versus Fish, you're part of the community of Goat versus Fish. You're part of the congregation of Goat versus Fish. Join Goat versus Fish for rapid community, fast community. Oh, my community ties have been broken. Oh, I can't see any of my friends. Oh, all my friends are getting married and they're having children and they don't have time for me. Oh, they've become serious people and they don't like the absurdity of Goat versus Fish anymore. Oh, they think Goat versus Fish is too stupid and silly and that Goat versus Fish is wasting their time creating a religion about Goat versus Fish. When are they going to give it up and get a real job and do something serious and settle down and get married and have kids of their own and not have time for anything fun anymore? When are you going to do it, Goat versus Fish? When are you going to do it, Goat versus Fish? Everyone has abandoned me. My family has abandoned me, or maybe they died or something. I don't know. I'm alone. I'm so alone in this universe. If only there were some kind of instant rapid community that could get you seeing people that you know and love in the blink of an eye. And that way is Goat versus Fish. Just add verses, and you too can have a community of goat and fish. A rapid, instant comedy community brought to you by Goat versus Fish. Celebration, celebration. That is why we like and follow and subscribe to Goat versus Fish. But more than that, we see Goat versus Fish live, and that's why we're building a temple to Goat versus Fish in Encino. Send a message, Goat versus Fish, on all social media. Send a message to Goat versus Fish and say, hey, Goat versus Fish, I want to be part of the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. I need a rapid community that is Goat vs. Fish. And that's why on the live streams, we have a rapid community of Goat vs. Fish. And Bayoden is part of that community of Goat vs. Fish. And Wow Mom is part of that community of Goat vs. Fish. And Charlie Bukowski is part of that community of Goat vs. Fish. And John Ray is part of that community of Goat vs. Fish. And the Watcher of Games is part of that community of Goat vs. Fish. Oh, it's an epic versus. Oh, it's an epic versus.
Yeah, because you're in an audience with all these other people, and when you laugh together, that's what I like to call a moment of instantaneous enlightenment.
Laugh with Goat vs. Fish, and you will find yourself instantaneously enlightened. Time for some instantaneous enlightenment with Goat vs. Fish. You have just been instantaneously enlightened by Goat vs. Fish. Celebration, 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 celebration!
In the past, my shows were always goofy, abstract, strange, but now
Just like Goat vs. Fish.
I have these moments of sincerity,
Just like Goat vs. Fish.
that took me a while to get comfortable with. But
Like Goat
I think
vs. Fish.
in these times, comedy is really, and especially absurdity, comedy in general, but absurdity especially, is so important for our minds.
Your mind needs Goat vs. Fish. Your brains need Goat vs. Fish. Your mind needs Goat vs. Fish. Your brain needs Goat vs. Fish. Your brain is unhealthy without Goat vs. Fish. Your ponderings are sickly without Goat vs. Fish. Without Goat vs. Fish, why, you might as well be some vegetation to be nibbled on by a goat. You might as well be a seaweed floating through the ocean. Without Goat vs. Fish, your brain will rot. Your brain will rot if Goat vs. Fish is not.
Because otherwise we just pile on this dread factor of
That's the fence. That is the fence of dread, your fence of indecision.
this isn't happening, this isn't going well, this doesn't look good, this is, and comedy zooms you out and gives you context. The fact that we're in this amazing world, this life that we're living.
It's an amazing versus of Goat vs. Fish. That is why we tell you celebration. Celebration! It's an amazing universe of Goat vs. Fish. You are a goat and you exist to versus fish. You've got fish to versus. You've got goat to versus. You've got fences to get off of. So stop moping around the fence and just get on with Goat vs. Fish. Get on with Goat vs. Fish. It's truly an amazing celebration.
Conscious beings, we can be helpful to one another, we can be loving to one another, we can overcome our fears, all of these things.
Yeah.
And so giving us context by doing something really f***ing stupid is like, so it feels good to me because you can feel the audience just go, ah.
Yeah.
That's a nice versus. That's a nice versus. That's a nice versus. That's a nice versus. That was Reggie Watts. That was Reggie Watts on The Daily Show. That was Reggie Watts on The Daily Show. That was Reggie Watts on The Daily Show. Well, Goat and Fish, this has been a beautiful verses. This has been a beautiful verses of Goat versus Fish. But it's time to say celebration, celebration. We appreciate you being here with Goat versus Fish. We appreciate your participation in Goat versus Fish. And Goat versus Fish is going to cut off this living stream because Goat versus Fish wants to be there for you more often, more living streams of Goat versus Fish. We give you some songs of celebration. We give you some sermonization. We say hello to the Goat and Fish. We appreciate your contribution to Goat vs. Fish. We promotion the upcoming shows of Goat vs. Fish. We tell you about the goings-on of Goat vs. Fish. We cover little news of Goat vs. Fish. It's Goat vs. Fish! And that's the verses, and that's the verses. Maybe we'll take some calls at Goat vs. Fish. Maybe we'll take some calls, too, at Goat vs. Fish. Baird in 420, appreciation for the Fish Army. Appreciation for the Fish Army. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat versus Fish celebration. And that's the verses of Goat versus Fish. Who did triumph, the goat or the fish? 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 Well, Goat versus Fish, we'll just have to do some of that calculation. And we'll let you know. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. Who followed Goat vs. Fish. We'll let you know. We'll let you know what's going on with Goat vs. Fish. We'll let you know what's going on with Goat vs. Fish. But we think that for this little return, let's go raid Julian. Let's raid Julian, Mr. Humdinger, who brought us onto Twitch. Getting back into the verses. Look forward to seeing clips of Goat vs. Fish on the YouTube of Goat vs. Fish. You can rewatch the live stream that you just watched at Goat vs. Fish on YouTube. Goat vs. Fish at the Comedy Store on Monday, 10:30 p.m. This Monday, tomorrow, Goat vs. Fish. And November 1st, Clifton, New Jersey, the Deep Fat Fried Meetup. You want to get a ticket to see Goat vs. Fish at the Deep Fat Fried Meetup November 1st in New Jersey? We have sent the link to you. Frozen Moon Productions, Team Goat, celebration. Celebration for Frozen Moon Productions. Always pleasant to have you in the verses. Always pleasant to have you in the verses. And we hope to see you soon. A radiation of Julie and Mr. Humdinger. Goat and Fish, thank you for your participation in Goat vs. Fish. Are you goat? Are you fish?